I spy a very expensive looking custom built motorhome. Check this out. And that can only mean one thing. We are back at RC Motorhomes to see my friend Richard and check out Project Sunseeker. I hear there's been progress. And here he is! The man himself. Mr. Richard!
How are you?
Very well, good afternoon. So, we're another step on, I understand.
Yeah, really good. Made some good progress, and we've got some real nice treats to show you.
Oh, fantastic, I can't wait.
Yeah.
And plenty of motorhomes here as well. I should just point out, incidentally, I pointed out that big motorhome as we came in. There is a full tour of that on my other channel, Motorholic, so if you want to see what that's like inside, go and check it out. But anyway, back to boats. Well, once we've gone past yet another motorhome, it's a busy place you've got here.
Flying motorhome, yeah. Right,
Oh my God.
the boat project.
Wow. Wow, I was not expecting, I know you said you moved on.
Yeah, so we've had both sides of the hull and all the deck now painted.
That's
All the black we're fitting back up.
That's unbelievable. That is an absolute, I mean, it's kind of like, I expected it,
Yeah.
but yet when you see it,
Yeah, I think once you start fitting up the black stuff, it really starts to look stunning.
that's fabulous. And I'll tell you what as well, and I probably wouldn't have said this before, but I was a little bit unsure about the colour.
Yeah.
And now I've seen it, actually no, it's spot on, isn't it? I kind of thought it would be a bit brighter than that, which sort of worried me, but that's like it's almost like a cherry colour, isn't it? That's,
yeah, I think, you know, I was exactly the same. I'd seen the colour, I liked the colour, but I was kind of nervous to do a whole boat in the colour.
Yeah.
But I just thought, I've got to do it, and I had a vision with the black and the red, and I think the more I put on with the colour and then contrasted it with the black, I just, as every bit I was doing, I was thinking, oh, this is going to look great, this is going to look great. And we've been able to do all the Sunseeker logo, but lacquered in, so it's not a decal. We've put it on and then painted it in.
Wow.
And that side there is straight out of the gun. There's been no polishing on that at all yet.
Really?
And that just shows how good that product is, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because to get that sort of finish in this environment, which is not ideal,
Yeah.
but we do it as best we can, to get that sort of finish, I think is mega for a product like that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's had, because it's got the two colours, I think it's had about 8 coats of lacquer over the whole lot, so you'll get that real depth of gloss to it.
Yeah.
And that gives you the ability with that product as well to, if there's any marks in it or anything that's sort of a small blemish, you can rework it and polish it, and it comes back up like a bit of glass, basically.
That's fantastic. So is there any more to do as far as this paint work done, or is this now done?
No, so we've got all the deck is done, and most of the deck equipment is fitted back up. So I would say sort of the forward end is pretty much complete, apart from some detail like the insert for the rubbing band.
Yeah.
And then the next major bit is this cockpit section through here,
Right.
which I've left due to the fact that we've still got engines to fit,
Uh-huh.
and it'll be a high traffic area.
Yeah.
And we've got some modifications to make to the engine room to cut things out to get the new engines in.
Right.
So next phase is engines in, and then once we're happy with the major part of the work done, we'll then paint out the cockpit area in the red and black and finish it through.
That makes
Just
sense.
Through risk of damaging, like there's bits and pieces here which have got to be repaired. I think this section here, it needs to be cut out to allow for the exhaust risers in the engines to come through.
Right.
So I've got modifications to do there, so I just wanted to leave that until last.
Yeah, that does make sense. Absolutely.
And I need a bit of a break from painting, rubbing and polishing and sanding.
But what I meant was, is this the finished
Yeah,
product?
This is the finished. This side has been polished. There's just a couple of areas just at the front where those marks are.
Oh yes.
Which are just spot repairs just
Yeah.
on the colour. But that is now the whole, both sides is complete.
It's unbelievable. I'm genuinely blown away by it. I think it's just amazing. I'm going to go around it again. That looks so good. I really hope that the colour comes out, because it's always tricky when you're filming these things.
I could get you the steps if you want to just have a look at the top there.
Yeah. Wow. I just want to stand and look at it.
I often do it when I'm around the end, just glance at it just to make sure I'm heading in the right direction with it.
Oh, I think it's fair to say that, yeah, we're good with that. Oh, look at that. Let's come right up here. That is sensational. That is going to be such a head turner when it's on the water.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Such a nice colour and such a nice finish as well. That's brilliant. And these bits here, are these windows or are they just like a trim decal thing?
That was just painted in because I wanted that new sort of the modern look with the glass.
Ah, yes.
So we removed the old portholes and filled them.
Yep.
And then we've just painted that on as a decal. We did a spray mask shape of it.
Yep.
And then painted it in, and the line just gives it a little bit of detail, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we put on all the things like the little fender hooks, so we haven't put the fenders on the leads.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So that's these little fellas here.
Yeah, and they just pop out.
So it's like that.
That's it. And then you rotate them and they trap the fender line in.
Okay.
Unloaded.
Right.
That's it.
Fantastic.
And we colour coded those as well, so we've got some red and some black.
Awesome. Awesome. And I couldn't help but notice this fella over here, which we walked straight past the first time.
Yeah, so that is the top section of the T-top.
Right.
Which was on previously.
Yeah.
But we took it off because it needs a high building in the lacquer. So that's had 6 coats of lacquer now. And that'll just want another flat, and then it'll get fitted to the hard top, and we'll paint that in place.
Right.
So we'll get the finishing in. And we've had some nice handrails made, which are the shape of it there. So if you're walking down the side deck, you have got something just to grab hold of, right up into the screen.
Yep.
And then we've got all the powder coated black radar stand that goes on there, and the aerials which sit on there. So that's kind of next to be sandwiched together and then fitted on the boat.
Awesome.
And then engines, really.
Oh yes.
You can see some bits back here.
Yeah. What's going on back here?
The MDF pattern that's on the boat there, that was the mock-up of where the new drives sit.
Right.
So you can see they're slightly wider than the previous holes. The previous hole was there.
Yep.
And these ones need to be slightly wider. So we made an MDF pattern, mocked it all up to make sure we were happy with it. And then we've had a stainless steel plate cut, which will be bonded to the transom, and then a mirror one for the inside. So it'll be 2 plates either side of the transom. Right. Which will now, and then we'll be able to cut this out, fill that in, seal it all up, and the new transom shields will go on there, ready to be able to mount the engines inside.
Okay, and that's because it's the latest engines and latest drives, which are slightly different to the engines and drives.
300 is slightly different length, slightly different width to what was in there before the CAD 44s.
Understood.
So we had to, and the engine beds where the engine mounts sit, they're not quite in the right position either. So we've got to move those. So there's a lot of sort of mock-up stage, dry fit of stuff, make sure it's okay, then everything back out, then go for a full fit and bond everything in and do it. So it's quite a process. Yeah, absolutely. And the idea of this sort of sandwich effect you're talking about is presumably to give it more strength. Yeah, because inherently what we would do now is you would cut that out and you'd end up with a potential weak spot on the transom where you've cut a section out and put a section in. It wouldn't be the solid transom that it used to be. So what we've done with the plates is made a sandwich of the transom plus the repair inside. So we've got belt and braces basically on that. Wow. To make a really nice job of it. Cool. And the accuracy is what we wanted as well when we're mounting them. Yeah, absolutely. That's really important, isn't it? And we made an engine out of MDF to be able to see. So that was our stern drive. And that mounted so that we could check it. That mounted on there. Right. So that we could check that the skeg here was underneath the hull. Okay. The engine, so it doesn't cavitate and we don't get any overheat problems. Right. So we were able to, instead of getting all the engines out of the box and trying to handle all the drives, we made an MDF pattern of the stern drive, which is one thing. And then when we put the engine in the boat, this is a profile of the engine and these are the engine feet. So we were able to mock that up with a little jigsaw puzzle, which went together something like that.
Right.
We were able to drop that in the boat. That's the side profile of the engine.
Okay.
And that's the width of the engine at its widest point.
I'm with you.
Rather than trying to keep picking the engines up and dangling them into the boat, we made an MDF engine, but we struggled with performance with it, with the MDF engine.
I was trying to figure that out for a minute then. I was thinking, hang on.
Yeah. We were worried about what would happen when they get wet.
Yeah. The warranty issues.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So that's now the next biggest project is get stuck in with that transom shield on, drives on, and see where we go with it.
That's incredible. I'm really, because when you said, oh, we've moved on a bit, I thought we were going to turn up and it's going to be like the same, but like with a couple more bits bolted on or something.
Yeah,
and it's a transformation.
Yeah, I'm always nervous that I haven't done enough, because in my world, I'm only doing it as a hobby basically.
Right.
And I'd like to spend more time doing it, but with work commitments and stuff, I can never get as much time as I'd like on it. But I do try, and then one side of the hull painted looks impressive, but the hours that get you to that stage are immense. The primer, the base coat, the flatting, the relacquering, the colour, all that whole process just seems to take forever. A period of about 3 weeks it was to paint that one side.
Wow.
Which, it's worth it, because unless you do that detail, you won't get the finish.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's all in the preparation with this kind of stuff, isn't
Yeah,
it?
100%. Yeah, paintwork, is about preparation.
Yeah.
You can spend hours, prepping, and the time on the gun, putting the paint on, is minimal. But
Right.
it's the prep before and the prep and the sort of process after which makes it.
And it must be super satisfying watching the paint go on.
Oh yeah, 100%. The paint, the satisfaction of doing a paint job like that and actually getting a super glossy finish is lovely. And there's always, I don't know if anybody else paints, but there's always something that lands in it. An insect or something. And you put on this mega glossy coat and you stand back and you think, oh awesome, and you go and clean the gun out and then come back, something's landed in it and you're just sort of delicately trying to pick it out. But yeah, that's just by the by really with it, and that's what happens. But yeah, it is incredibly rewarding, especially when you see it like this now, when you're fitting it all back up.
Yeah.
You've got the red on and the black, and then you start fitting some cleat details or handrails, and you kind of keep looking back at it and going, oh, it's going to look really good.
Yeah, yeah. Because you can, I'm not quite sure how to phrase this, but it was like up until now, it's looked like a bit of a wreck that you're doing up.
Yeah.
That's not a kind way to put it, but that's kind of how it looked.
Yeah.
And now it just looks like a dream machine that's coming together.
And for enthusiasm, you need to see that. You need to have that break point where you go, oh, this is going to look awesome. It gives you the momentum to keep going with it.
Yeah.
And I think that's, the paintwork and fitting stuff up really does give it that end look, so you can get a glimpse now of what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see it on the water, especially with all the, the T-top and the upholstery and stuff in it. Every stage from now on in will be a rewarding stage. A lot of the hard work is it behind the scenes paintwork and stuff like that. Now it will all be nice, rewarding work, fitting stuff up, putting the engines in, building the cabin, doing the console, fitting the upholstery. All really cool stages.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I guess when you're taking it apart, it must almost feel like you're going backwards. You're taking the engines out of the boat, you're taking the interior out of the boat. It feels like you're actually reducing the boat from what it was to something even less. But now you're going forward.
And you question what you bought because you put everything in the skip. You bought a boat and everything has gone in the bin, and then you think, you get to that stage where then you're on rebuild and you think, oh yeah, it is heading in the right direction. But yeah, to buy a boat and then put most of it in the skip is quite unheard of.
Absolutely. And is there any changes on board that we can see?
You're welcome to have a look, but not a lot. We've been concentrating on that and the engine room. There is the engine room hatch missing, so.
Okay. Well, we'll stick the camera up there just for the sake of seeing exactly how it's looking at this stage.
Yeah, and the engine room now is sort of open, ready for severe surgery.
Yeah, so we didn't really see that before. In fact, I can't remember whether the engines were still in it last time we were here. I don't think they were.
Yeah, so those engine feet there, the beds that the engines sit on, Emmy Lou that supplied the engines for us lent us their quite cool engine mount jig. So once the transom shields are in, you can put their jig stuffed into the transom shield, and it gives you the position of the engine feet. So instead of having to mock up too much stuff, you can know pretty much where these are. And to be fair, they're not a million miles off. They're probably halfway out from what they are now. So we've just got to change those and rebuild them a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bit of a messy process next, but it's got to be done.
Yeah. So what is next? In fact, where do you go from here? Engines in.
Yeah. So next is sort the transom out with the transom plates. Put the drives in dry, so don't because they've got to come back out again.
Right.
And then we can start cutting all the engine beds around, re-fiberglassing them in, changing some of these platforms here on the side where the original batteries used to fit. Because the engine is slightly wider, so these have got to go. Well, they've got to have a little scallop taken out of them on both sides.
Yeah.
And then literally we've got to glass it all in, then clean it all, flow coat it all, so it's all nice and fresh looking, and then start building everything. Engines in first, and then all the ancillary equipment that goes around the engine room after.
Wow. Yeah.
And fuel tank back in. That's another job which is kind of part and parcel of putting the engines in.
For sure. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, I am so impressed, genuinely so impressed. I think it's absolutely fantastic. It's really stepped on. I mean, I've been impressed all the way through, but this has suddenly gone to another level.
Yeah, definitely. I think now as soon as the engines go back in, we'll be into major progress change. So
yeah,
that'd be cool.
Awesome.
The engines are all in the box down there, which I'll show you.
Oh yes, yeah, we'd like to see those.
So that's one that we've unwrapped for you.
Oh wow, look at that.
Yeah, freshies.
Brand spanking new. I don't think I've seen one in a box before.
Yeah, and the other one's in there, and that's the jig which they've lent us to be able to give the engine mount location.
Okay.
And you just slide that up and down that bit of box.
Yeah.
Depending on which engine you fit in.
Right. Oh yes, I can see it on here.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a D6s here.
Yeah, and then D4s are further forward.
Bigger D6s here. Ah, yeah. How well you can see that? Yes, you can see that. Okay. There we go. That's remarkable.
Yeah, and we've got drives in those boxes, both the drives.
Okay.
And then the transom shields in there, so they'll go in first. And then that box is full of all the fancy kit, the nice bits, the controls and the joystick stuff.
Wow. Fantastic. Cool. So, on schedule?
I don't know if I've got a proper schedule, but I'm full steam on it as much as I can. So yeah, and it is making good progress. And the engines, as I say, the next big thing. So get those in. That's another big milestone made. But yeah, I'm happy with the progress we're making.
Brilliant.
It's not going to make the water this summer, but definitely early part of next year.
Which is, I think, what you always said.
Yeah. And this year's a difficult year anyway, isn't it, for everything. So we can get that out of the way, and next year we'll have a full good season on it.
Yeah, brilliant. And I have one more question for you, because this has been asked a lot.
Yeah.
Are you building this boat for yourself, or are you building it to sell?
I'd like to think that I'll use it a little bit, but ultimately somebody will buy it.
Right.
I've already had people try and buy it off me.
Really?
And I do love doing them, so if somebody gives me the right money for it, then I will do another one, 100%.
Cool.
I love it.
Fair enough. Well, we'll save that conversation for another time. We'll have to think about what sort of money it's going to be, because I'm sure people would want to know, but I think that's another conversation for another time.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there will be a cost on it, but in my opinion, what you're buying is a brand new boat.
Yeah.
Because apart from the fiberglass bit, which has got plenty of life left.
Well, it lasts forever anyway.
Yeah, you'll be buying a brand new bit of kit, brand new engines with warranty, interior kits, nav gears all warranted, so it will be like a brand new package. Yeah. Which is what we wanted to achieve. Yeah. Sort of bringing a classic to a brand new standard.
Yeah. No, that's brilliant. Cool. Okay. Well, we will look forward to the next instalment. I guess definitely. Another month's time, something like that.
Yeah. Engines will be in, I would imagine, by the next stage.
Perfect.
Be good.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We will look forward to coming back again. Another quick shoot down the hull. Genuinely blown away. Absolutely amazing.